It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
We're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calagione. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, I hope you're doing all right today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant, located on beautiful St. Simons Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's for an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Fight TV. You know, don't forget, you can watch us on Fight TV every day on demand. So check it out, Fight, that's FITE.TV. And don't forget to download our app. It's for free. Visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the banner. You'll see it. And speaking of Fight TV, don't forget, all of the fights that are available on Fight TV, you can watch exclusively on BillyCBoxing.com. Whether they're free or pay-per-view, you got it on BillyCBoxing.com. Make sure you watch it right there, because we got a beautiful player set up for you, and I think you'll enjoy it. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to the Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. Get yourself a copy right now while you're watching or listening to the show by visiting BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting Tom Molyneux's story told. And by the way, if you're looking to get a signed copy, you can visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book, which you can't miss. Or, like I said, because of a screw-up by yours truly, you can get yourself a discounted copy if you're any place in the United States. And if you act now, before the end of this month, I will send you a signed copy for $20. That includes shipping. So drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. And I want to thank everybody that's taken advantage of that offer so far. I screwed up a couple of weeks ago and ordered. I thought I didn't order it, so I got a box of books that I always keep to send out when people need them. And I had a brain lapse. I didn't think I did it, so I ordered another one. So I got 2 boxes. Not that, it's that big of a deal. It just takes up space, man. Space is limited here. But anyway, coming up later on the show, we got a couple of emails. We got some boxing news to talk about. We got the scores from Monday Night Football and the NBA and National Hockey League, and a look at the World Series that starts tonight. But, unlike our normal routine, when I get up and I write the show, I talk about some news, and we single out some hot topics that we make as our thought of the day, our main topic of the day. But today, I'm going to mix it up a little bit, because my man Johnston, who has a column up on BillyCBoxing.com, you can check it out. My man Johnston Brown, he's from the other side of the pond, sent me an interesting email, and basically what it is it's a diary that Anthony Joshua has been posting over in England, and he's talking about the fight that's coming up this weekend, and I find it extremely interesting, considering I think Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight in the world today and a class act and the type of individual that this sport needs more of. I'm going to read this, and we're going to talk about it. But first, let me introduce my partner in crime. He's at a secret, undisclosed location, boys and girls. Welcome, Sal Rocky Senecola. Good morning, Sal. How you doing today?
Good morning, Billy. How are you today?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I wanted to read this email, which is actually an excerpt from Anthony Joshua's diary, and get your thoughts on it. And let's without further ado, away we go. How about we start reading this right now? Again, this is from my man Johnston. He says, "Hey Billy C and Sal, AJ is currently has a fight diary with our local newspaper called and it's he's calling it his fight diary. Although it's a longish read, it's very interesting insight into AJ's thoughts about the upcoming fight with Carlos Takam." And his thoughts on when he heard the news about Pulov's injury. Here's Anthony Joshua's fight exclusive. So I haven't read this yet. As soon as I read that first part of the email, I said, oh, I know what I want to talk about today. So I'm sure we'll stop and talk about his thoughts. So this is the mindset of Anthony Joshua as leading up to his big fight this weekend. And it is a big fight, Sal, because as we talked about last week, he had been preparing for Kubrat Pulev, and all of a sudden he's got to go in there with Carlos Takam, who's a much shorter opponent. I know you liked, as a shorter fighter, you like fighting taller guys, but I think it is kind of difficult for a guy who's preparing for someone, 4 or 5 inches taller, all of a sudden to be thrown a curve, don't you think?
Yes, it is. Whenever you're preparing for a fight and you have a fight style and a fighter in mind, you put on the blinders and you eat, sleep, and drink what you got to do to beat your opponent. And he's a professional, a seasoned pro, and you just have to change gears and adopt the whole, shifting to another psyche and maybe adjust your style. If he's a shorter fighter that might be bobbing and weaving versus a taller boxer who might be moving around the ring and everything else. So it's a fix. It's fine, but when you're preparing psychologically for one fight and everything else, and then last minute there is a substitute or an alternative fighter. Yeah, it plays it a little bit, but like I said, he's a big boy, he's a professional, and as a fighter, that's how you learn to buck the system and do what you got to do. You're insensitive to things around you because you know what you have to do, and you just take it as another feed of the fire, and hey, I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm interested in hearing his thoughts as he would like us, the public, to believe he is actually thinking. So let's get into this. I'm curious too.
Well, here we go. He says this is Anthony Joshua's fight diary that he's got posted over in a local newspaper in England. He says it's another fight week, another sold out stadium, but with the added twist of a new opponent. Kubrat Pulev injured his bicep meant that Carlos Takam steps up as my mandatory challenger in Cardiff on Saturday night. I found out the news last Monday when I came into the gym, and my trainer, Rob McCracken, said, before you hear it from somewhere else, and so you're kept in the loop, be prepared for a change of opponent because Pulev might be injured. Now, this is obviously more than last week. I think. Am I losing my mind? I think it was the week before. But anyway, he says, after training, Eddie Hearn messaged me. Now, again, this is Anthony Joshua talking. He says, Pulev is out, Takam is in. Call me if you need anything. And that was it. Let me stop right there. That's a little cold, man. I mean, if you're the promoter, especially such a high-profile fighter like Anthony Joshua, it's kind of ballsy of Eddie Hearn to say, hey, by the way, we got a change of an opponent. Pulev's out, Takam is in. Let me know if you need anything. Ciao. What do you think, man?
Well, that's no, not beating around the bush, if you will, and just delivering the story. Hey, guess what? Like I said, these guys are big boys. He doesn't have to put sugar on the cornflakes. It is what it is. Hey, guess what? I'm sure he went into more detail, and maybe that's Joshua's interpretation of how it came across. But I'm sure he said, "Hey, Pulov injured his shoulder. It doesn't look good, so we had a substitute back up in mind, and we're gonna get." I'm sure it was delivered a little bit more presentable than just, "Oh, Pulov's off. This guy's in. Takam's in. Get ready." That's it. But yeah, it's interesting how he perceived it to be. Just black and white. That's all it is.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked if that's exactly what he did. I mean, the promoter's laying out the money, and he says, this is it. You don't like it, basically. That's, if you don't like it, you got a problem. Give me a call. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little crazy, but anyway, he goes on to say. And this is, if you're just tuning in, this is Anthony Joshua and his diary that he's got over in England in a local newspaper that my man Johnston Brown, who's got a column up on BillyCBoxing.com, was kind enough to send me. And Anthony Joshua goes on to say, we haven't, and this is interesting, he says, we haven't had Pulev clones coming in for sparring. My coach trains me to be better, not to have a certain style or beat a certain opponent, which I find fascinating. And I say attaboy to Rob McCracken for doing that, because in a sense, maybe it doesn't throw off Anthony Joshua's game too much. He says, okay, I've been watching Pulev for months now, but now it becomes Takam. I just switched my search on YouTube from Pulov to Takam. That's all that's changed. I got to do the same job. I got to change my approach a little bit, but I still need to box and be the best of my ability, and I hope I can still show my boxing technique as well. I like to show what I'm capable of against boxers, and he does have a very different style. This is actually a tougher fight for me. You can keep punching Takam, and he's still going to be in your face. Some guys you hit once, twice, and then they're taking steps back, and they don't want to engage. You hit Takam, and he comes forward looking for more just so he could get inside. Eddie's a smart businessman. He knows the sport. He told Carlos's team that he was next in line in the IBF, so stay in shape. As this is a mandatory fight, and you could be called to become next. And Carlos is a professional, and that's exactly what he did. He's been called in, and he's got a massive opportunity. I worked hard for these titles, so I don't want to have to come in and give them up. I just want to defend them because I'm a proud champion. Makes perfect sense to fight Takam. And the only real negative for me is that we haven't had 10 weeks build up on him in the media. He's a proper opponent and one that's been in camp knowing that this fight could happen. So he's prepared for this. If Pulov had not been in the picture and we'd announced that I was fighting Takam as my mandatory and number 3 in the rankings, that's definitely a credible defense. Takam has been fighting bigger guys for years. My last fights and camps have been all for tall guys like Vladimir Klitschko. He's 6'6". Eric Molina's 6'4". Dominic Brazil's 6'7". Pulov was 6'4.5". Now I'm fighting a guy who is shorter at 6'1.5" and will be well under 6 foot when he's crouched and rolling his shots. It's a completely different ball game, and now I'm going to have to get ready for a guy who wants to get to work on the inside and do a better job than some of his other opponents. We were talking about a fight a couple of years ago, but I've never sparred him. He's so game. He's always said he wants to fight me, so I know that he believes he can beat me. He has nothing to lose and everything to gain, and that makes him a very dangerous opponent. Pulev came through the Olympic system. He won the World Championship bronze, and now he has that Eastern European style. So he's a very good boxer. I was looking for that being a bit of a chess match. Now we get a Mike Tyson style guy in Takam. Shorter, thicker, sets, and loves his left hook. We all face injuries and niggles but you crack on. I wonder what a niggle is. Anyway, he says, that's my mindset, but everyone's different. You want to be 100% for a world title fight, so you have to respect if he's got the injury. Obviously, he's referring to Pulov. It's scary and dangerous. Everyone is interested in what's going to happen in 2018. But if I can get past Takam, or Takam, however you pronounce it, it puts a massive dent in those plans. I'm sorry, he says if I can't get past Takam, it puts a massive dent. I don't know, Sal. I think he's not saying anything different than anyone else thinks. I mean, I think the guy recognizes the challenge, and I like that McCracken doesn't, bring in what he termed as Pulev clones. I think that leaves some room for the adjustment, but I think it kind of is in his head a little bit by the sounds of it. Your thoughts, please.
I think it is as well. It's just like I said, he's been preparing solely for one type of fighter and one fighter in mind, and now he's had to change gears. But as I said, he's adaptable. That's what fighters do. We learn how to live in a different terrain and different circumstances, and boxing's not a sport for someone who has a fight and flight syndrome that takes off and runs the other way. So you bite the bullet, you put the blinders on, and you just change your gears a little bit. And I told you, it's going to be an interesting fight, because this guy, as Joshua has pointed out and carefully recognizes, is in for the opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, he definitely is going to want to rise to the occasion. He's had all these weeks to prepare for it. And when he got that phone call, that's a fighter's dream. That's like, wow, here I am. I did what I was supposed to do, and all of a sudden I'm going to have the arena that I've been dreaming about my entire life. So, yeah, he's got everything to gain. And if he rises to the occasion, he's going to make it a very interesting fight. I don't know if he's quite like Mike Tyson-like, but I think, there might be a moment or two where he's going to be moving and bobbing and weaving and flying those hands. And, yeah, he's not going to mind getting hit a little bit in order to if you can get hit, you're in range to hit. So I'm sure it's going to be an interesting fight. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you 100%. And hold that thought. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll finish that discussion and then some. Don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back.
Stop. Living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald. But there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about it.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
It was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I'm more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput, and a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, heating, plumbing, electric systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system break down budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until it breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
Save a lot of money. Absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 946-6234 for your free no obligation. This is important news for people who had a hip replacement and then had to have additional surgery as the result of a faulty hip implant, or were diagnosed with high levels of metal in the blood, known as metal. You may have a right to a cash award and medical expenses. If you have been diagnosed with high levels of metal in your blood or have required more surgery because of hip implant failure, call the offices of Davis & Crump right now. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are by.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-890-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And don't forget about watching all the Fight TV events right on BillyCBoxing.com. We have an embedded player there for you. And while you're at it, download our app, the Billy C app, for free on Fight TV. I'm here with Sal Rocky Senacola, and we just read the mindset, so to speak, of a diary of my man Anthony Joshua. And Sal, you know, to tell you the truth, this guy is all the good things that I want in the sport of boxing. You know, when you hear his mindset here, I mean, you know, you could take that for what it's worth. But I like some of the stuff that you read between the lines, like McCracken, his trainer, you know, not focusing on Pulev clones, as AJ put it. I think that that's smart. You know, I mean, I would like to see some guys that emulate a style of your opponent. But on the other hand, the reasoning AJ mentions in his diary is that, you know, he wants to be prepared, and he's trying to, you know, get better and better. And to tell you the truth, Sal, that's what I see with this kid. Every time I watch him fight, I see that he's improved better. You know, he's gotten better and better. He's improved on something. And his last fight, as we all know, was could possibly be a fight of the year because of the implications it had in the heavyweight division. But he fought a guy that dominated the heavyweight division for years, almost a decade. And, you know, he got up off the canvas. He showed us so much in that fight. And you know, there's a lot of pressure on AJ at this point because, you know, after a performance like that, even if he has a slightly off night, there's going to be criticisms and stuff. I like his attitude. I like Anthony Joshua, the man. And I wish more athletes would take note of the way he acts in and out of the ring, because I think especially the sport of boxing needs that. You know, we're so too often do we hear all the negative sides of some of these fighters, you know, shenanigans that take place outside the ring, and people try to tell you, oh, no, you can only judge them by what goes on inside the ring. I don't think that's true, because other athletes and other sports, you know, they all have to live up to a certain expectation because of the fact that they belong to leagues. Boxing, you're not belonging to a league, but, you know, you kind of owe it to the sport. What's your thoughts on this?
You know, I love, you know, where you're going with this, because this is it. This is the mindset. And that's why I do appreciate and respect Anthony Joshua so greatly. I mean, he is a throwback warrior, and he does his due diligence. He prepares for fights. You don't hear any shuffling or rhetoric and bull and drama in his personal life that could reflect a stereotype, or that could be reflective of somebody that you could draw an opinion on outside of the sport of boxing. You know, so I respect that. and he lives the life of a clean champion. And he conducts himself in and out of the ring like a professional. And I think that's what the sport does need. It's what any sports need. I mean, when you hear shenanigans, as you put it so well, from athletes from other sports, it kind of deters and maybe takes the skill level or the opinion of the public about the individual, a little bit aside. So, no, Anthony Joshua does stand for and represents a very good professional that comes to do business, isn't afraid of opponents, whatever they throw in front of him, and just does what he does best, and that's fight, and he wins. And so, how can you not respect a champion like that? I think he's one of the greatest right now in the sport of boxing. That's good for the sport of boxing.
I think the biggest thing I respect of Anthony Joshua has to be his approach. Sometimes when fighters achieve the level that he has, okay? I mean, I don't want to use the word greatness with him because he certainly has a lot of career left, and I don't think it's fair to put that label on him right now. But as it sits, he's clearly the best heavyweight in the world today. No one, in my opinion, at least now, could come close to beating him, including your boy Deontay Wilder. I know Deontay would like to think he could beat him, and he certainly does, but he just doesn't have enough. And with that said, a lot of times fighters, and you can see that with Deontay, and you can see it with even guys that haven't achieved what Deontay and, of course, AJ have, and they start with this attitude, and they start thinking of themselves as being already there. I'm this, I'm that. A guy that comes to mind is Jarrell Miller, and who's talking smack, who hasn't fought anybody. I don't see that with AJ. I see a guy that's a sponge trying to learn as much as he can, and that's something I don't know if you can teach, Sal. I don't know if that mindset is a taught thing or innate, if it's just something that comes with certain individuals. And to be honest with you, Sal, that's what separates a special person from an ordinary person. And no disrespect to an ordinary person, because they can achieve a lot of great things, but I think the special is what catapults them higher. What do you think?
Well, you're right. I mean, Bill, here's a guy who has the wherewithal to recognize humility and to be humble and to appreciate what the opportunities that have been presented before him that are tangible for him to grab and to challenge and to go after and to win and to conquer. So, yeah, I love his humility. I love the idea that he does realize the magnitude and the importance of who he is and what he stands for and what he represents. So that's part of it. He respects the title he wears, and that says a lot right there. He respects the title holders of this division that's come before him. So he knows the history, and he inherited that history and that legacy when he won the World Championship belt. And I think that goes a long way in a special fighter like AJ. And he conducts himself the way we would like to see most champions conduct themselves, in a humble manner, being very confident and being very capable. But guess what? Let your fist do the talking. Let your chin do the talking. Let everything else. Promote yourself where you can, and do have the confidence, and do let others know that you're confident. But he's not pounding his chest and already comparing himself with Muhammad Ali or anybody else. He's his own individual. He's his own man, and I think that he's a great representation of what the heavyweight championship of the world could be like. And that's I'm very, very grateful that we have him as a boxing ambassador, if you will.
Yeah, they're talking in the chat room. And, and by the way, if you're watching and listening, the chat room that we respond to, I know we have a simulcast going on Facebook, and I appreciate all the people that watch us on Facebook. I know it's convenient, but keep in mind that stream is so terrible. The camera shot, I mean, we're very limited with Facebook Live. So if you want to see the real television version, you got to go over to our YouTube channel, because we're streaming it there, or just watch it on Billy C. Boxing. But anyway, in the chat room on BillyCBoxing.com, I think there's some comments being made about AJ. I think that Anthony Joshua, Sal, is going to control the heavyweight division for the next 5 years easily. I don't see anybody rising in the ranks that's going to give him much trouble, at least for 5 years. There are a couple of young fighters, specifically from England, that may rock the apple cart a little bit, but not for a while. The only guy that everybody wants to see fight Anthony Joshua is Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder, there's no reason to marinate that fight. That whole process, we got to marinate, that's bull. Because the truth of the matter is right after that fight, and let's keep this real, Sal. These two guys can make a ton of money fighting each other. And if the fight is good, we could have a rematch where they make more money.
Absolutely.
So, financially, it sounds like the smartest move for both fighters if they, can come to terms. The bottom line is AJ is in the driver's seat. Deontay Wilder has to go to England, and he has to fight there. Deontay Wilder's already starting, he's got to come to me. I'm the real champ. I called this a year ago. I called this more than a year ago that Deontay would start this crap. It's a joke. What do you think?
Well, there you go again. I agree with you, but I will tell you this. I think we're going to see that Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua fight, and I think we're going to see it before July of 2018. I just feel that way. We're going to have to. And I think it's going to happen. So all the questions and all the answers will be right before us in the middle of next year. I feel very confident about that. And they are two different champions, two different styles, two different insights and contrast in styles, contrast in personalities, contrast in characters. So it's going to be a good fight. But I do like and I admire and respect, the Anthony Joshua approach. Let your fists do the talking. Be humble. Promote yourself where you can. But be a good ambassador of the sport for which you chose to make a living and which you want to be a part of and which you want to build a legacy and a career. It's a great representation when you could talk well about a heavyweight champion or any champion that doesn't get into, as you say again, the shenanigans of what the outside chaos of life could bring your way. You put the blinders on, you turn your cheek, and you stay straight on the path. This way you don't have to walk back and try to find your way back on a path. So, that's Anthony Joshua's style. He conducts himself as a gentleman and as a champion inside and out of the ring. And that's what we need more of in the sport of boxing today.
And he backs it up.
He backs it up. He's got his two defenders right here.
Yeah, and when you look at his resume, it's there. This is the difference. This is where my criticism lies with Deontay Wilder. And again, I want to emphasize that I don't blame Deontay because he's just and I say this in a positive way. He's just the fighter. He fights who they put in front of him. It's his team who has misled Deontay to believe that he's better than he is. Hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'll finish that. I got some emails to read. We got some other news to talk about. All of that coming up in 2 minutes.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And, Sal, I was just talking in the chat room about, of course, the potential fight with AJ and Wilder. And the truth of the matter is there's no need to marinate this fight. It's already, at the top. I mean, everybody wants to see it. And like I've always said, the marination is just another smokescreen that the fans are buying into and justify. The truth of the matter is after the big fight, there's always another big fight. It always happens. That once you get past that fight that's being defined as the fight, there's another the fight waiting to be made. So I totally disagree with that marination process. Yes, you can make the argument in Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao's case that by them waiting, they made more money. But we, as the fight fans and the sport, did not get the best fight that we could have gotten because they both, even though they both aged at the same time, they both were not at their peak. And I think that to see Deontay Wilder fight Anthony Joshua now, early 2018, what we would be getting is something that we haven't seen in a long, long time. Two peak heavyweights fighting each other for a unification. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than that.
No, it does not, Bill. And that's what part of the excitement and anticipation would be. Yes, we did see Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, but it was maybe 5 years after the fact where it would have been great. And yes, they made a ton of money. But look at it this way. What if they did fight 5 years earlier? They would have had enough time in between to possibly have a rematch or to possibly have a trilogy. And so the money then could have been probably equated what they could have made in the one big fight, which they did, might have been more dramatic and even more money in a rematch or another fight. So who knows? The bottom line is Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder are two premier heavyweights that are self-proclaimed and title belt holders, but they think they're the greatest in the world, and I think they do need to have a great showdown when worlds collide, if you will. And I think it'll be a fantastic promotion. I think the substance is there for people and fans to bite on, and I think it'll be one of the biggest fights of the year. So I think they really should start setting their sights and their heart and their mind to make this happen for the fans' sake. That's it. And we'll see what happens. I think 2018 is going to be that year.
That's the problem with boxing. They could give the rat's ass about the fans, and it pisses me off because most of the other, top professional sports do base some moves on the fans. And we see the NFL is a great example. The NFL is losing viewers now because they made the wrong decision about certain things. And speaking of the NFL, we had Monday Night Football last night in a divisional rivalry in a very important game. The Eagles went to 6-1, donning really the best record in football today, beating the Redskins 34-24, which now gives them a big-time advantage over the Redskins, who are a good team. But now they beat them twice. Their series against the Redskins are over. So any potential tiebreakers for that division, should the Eagles, lose a couple of games in a row, goes to the Eagles. So a big win for the leading NFC East leading Eagles, 34-24 on Monday Night Football. Over in the NBA, the 76ers beat the Pistons 97-86. The Heat over the Hawks 104-93. The Grizzlies beat the Rockets 98-90. The Bucks beat the Hornets 103-94. The Warriors 133-103 over the Mavericks. 30-point victory there. A big win for the Warriors. Spurs 101, Raptors 97, Wizards 109, Nuggets 104. And the Suns beat the Kings 117-115. In the National Hockey League, the Maple Leafs beat the Kings 3-2. And what's going on with the Rangers? 4-1, they lose to the Sharks. I like the Sharks. 4-1 over the Rangers. Now, the World Series, she's a starting tonight, Sal. The Astros start game 1 at Los Angeles. They're playing the Dodgers. The game starts officially at 8:09. I don't know why they have these weird starts, but I guess for the intros and stuff. But 8:09 tonight, first of 7, the best of 7 in the World Series, going up in the mound for the Astros. On the mound for the Astros. Jeez, I'm struggling with the English language today. Dallas Keuchel, and I know I pronounced his name wrong. I know it's not Keuchel, but I think it's Keuchel. Going up against the Dodgers ace, Clayton Kershaw. So I'm looking forward to this game. I know you're still depressed over your boys, but I'm pulling for the Dodgers. I'm officially rooting for my second favorite baseball team, and that's the Dodgers. So good luck to those guys. Who are you predicting in the World Series, Sal?
Well, I'll tell you, after what I saw from Houston coming back and fighting a tough series with the Yankees, I mean, I have to tell you, they've got it all. They've got the offense, they've got the defense, they've got the pitching defensively, and they've got the bats to answer any call. And they came back, and by the way, they do have a heart and determination because they could have been counted out. The Yankees had all the momentum in their favor going over back to Houston, and they dropped the ball, no pun intended, and they couldn't capitalize on their momentum. So the Astros are fighters, and I really do think that it's going to be a great series. I do predict the Astros to win.
All right, well, we're against each other there. I'm picking the Dodgers, and I think the reason why I'm picking it, I know the reason why I'm picking the Dodgers in baseball. And we saw it with the Yankees. When they meet pitchers multiple times, good hitters always can catch up to the pitcher.
That's correct.
It's when they don't face the pitcher and they don't get his tendencies and style and movement on the ball, et cetera, is when the pitchers dominate. And with the Astros against the Yankees, even though they weren't in the same division, they did play each other during the season. So the Yankees got to see their pitching, maybe not as much as they would have liked to, but you could see after falling 2-0 behind, the Yankees started, hitting their best pitching. I don't think that the Astros are going to be able to do that with the Dodgers pitching. I think the Dodgers pitching is going to get off big, and do well against the Astros. And then the other aspect is that the Dodgers, when they are playing in the AL, when they're going to go in Houston and play, they have some bats to put at the DH position, as do the Astros, of course. But the other way around, when the Astros are playing the Dodgers for an NL game and their pitchers have to hit, none of the pitchers on the Astros can hit. I think that's a huge advantage for the Dodgers. I'm picking the Dodgers, man. I'm going with the Dodgers in a tight series, Sal. It's gonna be a good series for the reasons you said. But I think at the end of the day, Dodgers are going to be the world champs.
Well, I think you make a good case there, Consigliere. I think it's a great case, and I think it's going to be a good series. I think it's going to go to Game 6 or 7, and as I said, I just think that from what I saw with Houston, their ability to dig down, not be counted out, and it's so funny when you were describing, not seeing the pitchers and not this and that. I'm going back in my mind, analogizing to, hey, it's a fighter having a last-minute replacement for his fight to fight another opponent. So, you could do what you want to do and try to play the games in your own mind to make yourself comfortable and up for the game. And I don't think that's going to be an issue, again, because these are paid professionals. They've batted against any and every type of style of a pitcher. So this is going to be a new one that they're going to have to catch up to by the time they're up the bat, either the second or third time in rotation. So and it only takes one round to be explosive, and that's what I saw that Houston was capable of doing. They became explosive. It wasn't that they sustained runs over the length of 9 innings. I saw what they did to beat the Yankees. It came all together cumulatively in 1 or 2 big innings. And, that's tough because when you are getting a surmounted odds against you and seeing runs score before your eyes, it takes your heart away. I guess it did to the Yankees to a degree, and they just couldn't get back. They did the one time they came back when they were down 4-0, and they did a beautiful, brilliant display of heart and soul and spirit and desire, and they came back and they won 6-4. But that wasn't there in the last game when they were down 4-0 again, and it was not to be repeated. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a great series. I can't wait.
At least we got, in my opinion, the 2 best teams in baseball playing each other.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you go through a conversion? Are you Irish now? You got the green going on. You got your green stuff behind you. You got a green shirt on. I mean, what happened?
I know, because we saw an Irish fighter this past weekend,
Yeah. Well, I'm concerned, Sal. I'm concerned.
Well, green, maybe not the Kelly green, but green is one of the Italian colors, one of the flag colors of the Italian flag.
Well, Kelly green. At least Kelly green is a New York Jet color, so.
That's right. And not to be, let me tell you, oh boy, that's so true. Speaking of Kelly green, I still got to get a shirt and a helmet for Pat Ryan when he comes back to visit. Because after I put my foot in my mouth and chewed up that leather, I had to make up for it. We're going to have a New York Jet helmet and a New York Jet jersey. I believe Pat Ryan's number was number 10. That's going to be flying and displaying up on my ceiling with equal to the Phil Simms jersey I also wave proudly from the New York Giants. So we'll have those two waving shoulder to shoulder.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you know when he's going to come down, and if I'm going to be there, I'll bring some Pat Ryan memorabilia for you to have him sign, and you can keep it. I have tons of that stuff. But anyway, I got some emails to read. This first one's from, we already read the great one from Johnston, which was actually the diary. And he's informing us in the chat room, because he popped up in the chat room, that he's got the second part of that diary that he's going to send me. So I will read that one tomorrow or Thursday. This email's from Jesse. He says, "Hey, Billy C. and Sal, I think Machado will not keep his belt for long. He seems to have a chin problem. He has good boxing and long arms, but he might get beat by his next mandatory challenger like Fortuna, Mesa, or Cuellar." I don't know. I mean, he won the fight. He got rocked in that fight, but it was a step up. for Machado. And Sal, when fighters win a belt, don't they become better in a sense? Like, isn't their mindset different now? It's like, because we hear today, it's with world titles, it's so easy to win a world title, but the trick comes to keep it. They hand out the title easily, but to keep the title is a lot tougher. But the mindset, once you become a world champion, doesn't that elevate your game?
Oh yeah, let me tell you why. Because you're as you're a contender, you're on the fringe and you're waiting. But when you are ranked and you do get a title shot and you become the champion or whatever, your mind shift actually does shift. You're like, hey, I arrived. I belong here. I deserve this. This is me. This is where I wanted to be. This is what I fought for. This is what I desired. This is what my dreams and passion have led me to believe I could arrive at, and I am here. So, yeah, you have a confidence level. You have, like I said, I think fighters today could often look back and remember how coveted this world championship title belt, no matter how diluted it is with all these other secondary, tertiary, and belts that are out there. Remember, you are a world champion, and that holds a legacy and a tradition and value that I don't think, not too many people could claim and wear. So, yeah, your game steps up. You fight, you're a champion. You defend your title. You have a confidence level, and you belong because you worked hard and you deserve it. So, yeah, without having an arrogance into the mix, you do step up your game, and you can conduct yourself and you fight yourself like you're a champion.
Right, and it seems like they're better, right? I mean, it's not just an assumption.
It's like a peacock, you want to strut your feathers. You know what? Guess what? Here's my belt. Here's my title. I'm gonna be. Your game can shift and your game can change. You don't take it for granted because, like I said, you're only as good as your last fight. And so when you have the momentum, the mindset, and the passion, and the heart that you've arrived, and the confidence level that, hey, I deserve this. This is where I've been. This is what I worked for. I'm not going to want to lose it. You do step up your game. And, every fighter should fight. Every fight. Like it's their first fight. That's what I used to say to people. That's what I say to people now when we do everything we do inside and outside the pizzeria as far as every day. It's like the old mindset. I have Vince Lombardi's picture on the wall, and I was a student of all his great speeches. And you don't win once in a while. You don't win once in a while. Or do things right once in a while. You do things right, and you win all the time. These are kinds of things. You got to get up. It's a spirit. It's a mental mindset, and it's emotion. And you got to have the passion, the desire to not only win, but to remain a winner, to remain a champion, to remain and do what you got to do. And that's part of the fodder and part of the feed that people should respect and conduct themselves and live by. That's all.
My fan Jesse goes on to say, I didn't see the Andrade fight, but I saw highlights, and Andrade had a problem with long arms. But Andrade had the speed and boxing ability. Andrade versus Murata, Saluki, or Monroe Jr. next. Rosado or Lee, all winnable fights. I just don't think he's busy enough. I think that Demetrius has the ability and, of course, the skill set, but he doesn't let his hands go. And I predicted that he was going to fight Murata right off the bat. That was the deal that he cut with the WBA. That's a winnable fight for him. But, as a middleweight, some of these other guys, I mean, he doesn't stand a chance with Rosado. When you see, this is the problem with the sport. Because of the sanctioning bodies, and because everybody's got their own rankings, you'd end up with a fight like this, where you have Demetrius Andrade moving up, fighting his first fight as a middleweight, and immediately getting a world title shot against newly crowned Murata out of Japan, who has already said he's coming to the States. So, when realistically, like you said, Sal, Demetrius Andrade doesn't stand a chance with the real middleweights in the division.
No
Triple
way.
G, Canelo. David Lemieux, Billy Joe Saunders, even. All these guys would destroy him. And then to suggest that Willie Monroe Jr. or Gabe Rosado or even Andy Lee comes back and they all, get a shot, I don't know. I don't know. That's the problem with the sport. Too many sanctioning bodies dilute the pool of fighters. And then, to defend the fighter, he's fighting the number one mandatory for that sanctioning body, and that number one guy might have a computer ranking of number 27, So that's the problem with the sport today, I think, Sal.
Yeah, well, we know that. It's got layers and layers of just rhetoric and craziness. And as I said, borrow our good old friend's Boom Boom Mancini's line. There's only one world. Why can't there be just one champion? It's so true. And I don't know, Bill. It's a far cry from what was always intended as far as the title belt being the world title of the world. That you carry and conduct yourself.
True.
So
his last point is Murata just does not have the boxing skills to beat the top boxers in the middleweight division. He has no defense and only throws the powerful right. He needs a better trainer. He didn't make new adjustments for Nadam. Can't disagree with Jesse there. I thought that he was very ordinary, if that. And in following what you just said, if there was one champion of the one world that we live in, Murata wouldn't even. I don't know. I don't even know if he would be a top 10. If we took the middleweights today. Obviously starting with the best as Triple G, and then, credit what credit's due, the second best being Canelo. I mean, that's number one and number two. You could go down, David Lemieux has to be in there.
I put Lemieux in there.
Yeah, he has to be in there. Billy Joe Saunders has to be in there. So right off the bat, you got four. Does Murata even make it to the top 10? Maybe at number 10. I don't know. But interesting. Another email. This one's from Joel, and he says, "Hey Billy C, did you see Jim Joyce's debut this weekend against Ian Lewison? What'd you think?" I was impressed. I mean, I think. Listen, the jury's still out. We got a long way to go, but it's always nice to see an accomplished amateur making his pro debut. It's a natural progression. He says, "Do you see guys like Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois?" And somebody corrected the way I'm pronouncing his name. It's not. Maybe it's Dubay. I don't know. But that heavyweight from England, my man Thomas Newman hooked me up with. This guy's good. He says, "Do you see guys like Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois? Potentially have the potential same success and popularity that AJ has?" I think it's up to them. I think Daniel Dubois will have the success because he's a vicious fighter. But you know what? Credit where credit's due. Anthony Joshua has been able to rise because of his mannerisms, his attitude, the fact that he prides himself getting better and better, and the fact that he's fought the right fights. That's why the UK carries boxing on its back right now, because these guys fight each other. You don't have to wait. The American fighters, listen, people don't have to come to the United States to make a lot of money anymore. And I think that Eddie Hearn moving and becoming a licensed promoter in the United States and is soon to put on some shows, he's going to be the promoter, definitely the top dog promoter. When I see a guy like Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy, and I was at the fights that they promoted this past weekend, no local fighters on the card. That gave me an indication to see that all they care about is keeping their fighters busy, which is cool, but they're not making money from ticket sales. They're cutting other deals. And really, to bring fans to the fight venues, to watch the fights, you got to have local kids. They're the ones that are selling the tickets. If you don't bring local kids to an event that's in their neck of the woods, that's a stupid move. And it's going to be interesting to see what Eddie Hearn does. Eddie Hearn does with when he promotes here in the States, because it seems like everything else he's doing, Sal, is right.
Well, I agree with you, and I think you're right. And it's just so amazing. I often refer back, and however you feel or one feels, I go back to the Lou Duva playbook of what he did to promote the grassroots contenders and champions right from Ice World in Totowa, New Jersey. I mean, that was the same thing when I was fighting with Rocky Lockridge, Bobby Ches, all these world-class fighters that we all, we were selling tickets to our family members, our friends, and they were having our early bouts at Ice World Totowa. And then we would get the buses following us from going to Atlantic City. We would load 2-3 buses full of our fans from the area that would want to come down and see us. And then we'd build a following there. There was the whole progression of having a fan base, multiply it and magnify because of the grassroots mentality of Lou Duva and his promoting ability. You know, along with Kathy Duvid, Dan, Dino, the whole family. They all had a mission. They all had an insight. Every time you say Dino.
Hey,
no, that was Astro. I'm sorry, I was borrowing Astro. Astro and Dino, you can get confused. I think they're the same bark.
Yeah, they had no Astro. Astro was more like Scooby Doo.
Astro.
Yeah. he was more like Scooby, but anyway.
Yeah, maybe they were all related somehow.
They were all Hanna-Barbera.
They were. See.
Yeah. Joel says, Joel's last point is, I'm curious if you could give me some more details on the card you went to at the Turning Stone Saturday. How was the crowd, the off-TV fights? Did you enjoy all the bouts? Anything else of interest you want to share with us? I shared all of that yesterday, Joel. You know, maybe because if you would have showed up on the show on time, you would have heard it all. But if you go back and replay yesterday's show, you'll hear it. I did get extensive about the Turning Stone event and all the fights that were on that card. It was a decent event, very long night. Remember, the first fight came on at 5:45 p.m. and you know it was the HBO After Dark. You know, so when HBO they did show the replay of the Burnett fight at 10 p.m. But or maybe 10:30. It was around 10 o'clock. And then 11 p.m. when the broadcast started after dark, they came on with the co-main event, which was Demetrius Andrade. So it was a long-ass night for me. But my biggest hang-up was what we just said. You know, no local kids on the card at all. And all with the exception of the Machado fight, every single red corner fighter won, which were Golden Boy fighters, except for Machado. Machado upset the apple cart and was the only blue corner winner for that night, which, I hate that, Sal. I hate when, you got the A-sides are all being, that's called a showcase card. I like to see, challenging fights. At least 3 should have been challenged. I'll tell you, the one that was challenged in the Roach fight, he was in there with a guy that he was supposed to just beat, and this kid took him the distance, and you could see it on his face. But all in all, it was a great time. It always is at the Turning Stone, man. It always is.
That's great. I have one question, Bill. Did you get time to visit the casino?
I didn't gamble. I didn't. I mean, I was at the casino, of course, but I didn't gamble. I'm funny about gambling these days. I mean, I'm a gambler. There's no question about it. But I like to be in an environment when I'm favoring myself, obviously. And I like the fight crowd. I play crap, so I like the fight crowd to be at the tables. Unfortunately, by the time I got out of the fight, I was ready for bed, man. I was tired. There was no way I was going to go and hang out at the table at 2 in the morning, especially when I had to leave so early to get some other things done and be ready on Sunday. But anyway, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I got some news I want to talk about, or at least some things to discuss. I don't know if it's news, but interesting facts. So don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Stop living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
And it was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system break down, bust your budget, or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Broke.
Never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Glad you could be with us. And as promised, I wanted to talk about some other stuff. You know, this weekend, my man AJ is fighting, and on the undercard, we have a pretty good undercard coming at us from Cardiff on Saturday. And one of the fights that is on that card, Sal, is Dillian White. Another guy that Deontay Wilder seems to be ducking or trying to avoid, or maybe they just think it's too risky. And Dillian White is no You know, I mean, he's no world beater, but it is a guy that Anthony Joshua has already fought and won. He faces Robert Holinas. Now, Robert Holinas says, I will definitely knock out White. He says, and I quote, I will definitely win by knockout. He will definitely fall. I know it's going to be a tough fight, but it will be a tough fight for him more than it will be for me. He will get another loss on his record. That's it. I hope he stands and fights with me and doesn't run as his reputation suggests. I absolutely have no worries about ring rust because I'm always in training. I feel I have 10 years left in boxing, and during this time I will definitely become the world heavyweight champion. I have no doubts. You know, Sal, I'm glad he's so positive, but when you make a statement like that, there's a fine line between showing positivity and then becoming a David Hay, where you make all these shallow promises. And should he not knock out White, even if he wins by a decision, people are going to be critical of his boast that he's going to knock out White. You know, people are going to throw in my face, well, Muhammad Ali did it all the time. But the difference is Muhammad Ali backed it up. You know, I'm just a strong believer. I don't have anything against smack talk. I like it. Except I want the fighters to at least try. If Holinas goes in there and tries for the knockout and doesn't get it, I respect him. But if he goes in there and he himself is the runner, then it's all shallow. It becomes David Hay. Your thoughts, Rocky Senecola.
Well, you're absolutely right. And what we do is we can look back at the benchmark. I mean, Muhammad Ali was his best promoter. I mean, he proclaimed that what he was going to do, what round he was going to do it, how he was going to do it. And Muhammad Ali, during a time of boxing, when boxing needed it, he was not only a great fighter, but he was a promoter, a great promoter. And who did he promote best? Himself. And the antics and the keeping himself in the limelight and just talking about his opponents. But as you said, Billy C., he did back it up. And he did it in such a creative, such a entertaining way. What he would talk about his opponents, you were baited. The public was baited. Like, I can't believe he said that. What's going to come out of his mouth next? You know, we don't have that in the game today. It's more nasty or arrogance, and it's not the same type of promoting that Muhammad Ali was known for and brought to the game of boxing. So, yeah, I think it's a different world today. Period. But you know, these fights should be good, and we're going to let the fist always answer to what the bell will ring.
You know, I say this all the time. Muhammad Ali did it as as a promotion. I agree with you 100%. He was a self-promoter and one of the best. But like I said, he backed it up. You know, yes, these guys that do this now, you know, the copycats. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you know, and as a matter of fact, I have some of that right now that I'm going to read. But, you know, you can't, as far as I'm concerned, you can't have respect for a fighter that says that he's going to go in and knock somebody's head off, and then the bell rings, and he doesn't even come close to even landing a solid shot because all he wants to do is survive 12 rounds. And people could say, well, he just wants to survive. He wants to go to distance. Well, then he picked the wrong sport. You know, the problem today is that there's a lot of young boxing fans that have been brainwashed, and they accept this. And this is what scares me, Sal, for the future of the sport of professional boxing. You know, it's like in football. You know, I'm a football fan, and they talk about, oh, well, you know, you're not allowed. You know, they're calling flags. You know, you tackle a quarterback, and you're getting flagged. So you make what would have been a sack a few years ago. Now you're getting penalized, and the offensive team is getting 15 yards. They want to do away with kickoffs because they're too dangerous. You know, you're not allowed to tackle, hit a receiver. I mean, if Ronnie Lott played in today's game of football, he wouldn't have been the star that he was in his era. Well, the same is in boxing. You know, there was rumor, I did a show a couple of years, it was probably almost 2 years ago, where they have a new form of boxing where you don't hit above the chest. It's all body blows, you know, and your points. It's like, are you kidding me? You know, it all starts, what did I say, Sal? And you agree with me. It all starts with these participation trophies. We start training our kids at 8 years old, hey, little Johnny, nobody wins. We're all winners here. Just have fun. Bullshit. That's not the case. You can't. There has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. There's nothing wrong with losing. You improve to win. And that's what teaches integrity. That's why the kids of today are so coddled, and then they're tossed out into the world and they realize, hey, my mom said I was the best, but really, my boss says I'm fired. What are you going to do? Right? Isn't that true?
I love that.
Isn't that true?
That's a great analogy. My mom says I'm the best, but my boss said I was just fired. Right. Billy, that was one of the funniest things I've heard you say in a long time.
Oh, come on. I say funny things. What do you mean in a long time?
You're a funny guy.
Yeah, hey, you find me funny? Am I amusing to you?
Entertaining?
Yeah.
What is so funny about me?
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. You are 100% right there. And man, let's call a spade and understand something, boys and girls, children of all ages. I borrowed that from you, Bill. That's why athletes, champions, can be looked at as elitist. Not everyone could do this. Not everybody's supposed to do this. Those participation trophies you got in Little League football and baseball, that's all in good. It gave you a little head start. You got a little confidence. Hey, let me go to second grade, third grade, fourth grade and see how it fair in high school sports. But guess what? When you're a paid professional, you take on certain things in a lifestyle of a professional athlete, the inherent risks and potential damage, hey, I make no bones about it. When my father and I were discussing about a career in boxing, I mean, what he had as a benchmark for me to look at was nobody dying of pugilistic dementia and how the body shuts down and how you lose things. But he would look at, the Rocky Gracianos, the Jake LaMotta, and all the other great warriors, and, being comedians, maybe considered a little punchy here and there, just with their rolling with the tide and everything else. And, but he said, Sal, you become a fighter, and you're going to fight and become champ. You have certain risk. You can get killed in a ring. You could do this. But he didn't say, hey, we're gonna make it all good and easy for you. No, these are the decisions that mature minds have to make. If they want to become an athlete, whether it's football, whether it's baseball, whether it's professional boxing, hockey, or anything else, there are certain inherent risks with those sports that lead to injury, may lead to a short career, may lead to a lifestyle change in the future, but also may lead to great glamorous future of wealth and fortune and fame. But those are the prize. What did I always say, Billy? The prize has to be worth the price. If it's worth the price to pay to get to the prize, some athletes will say, hey, I can do it. I want to do it. I'm going to live and die by it. But other fighters or other athletes say, you know what, I've had enough, or I don't want it. So don't tell me they got to lower the standards and are benchmarking the rules of the game and not hitting the head and not do this. These are the inherent risks of the sport. If you decide to go through it and to be a football player, you're going to take some knocks. You're going to break some bones. You're going to do this. You the same thing in boxing. You're going to get hit. You're going to you could be scarred for life. You could die. Those are the risks. No one's telling you got to do it. You got to force it. So don't lower the benchmark and say, okay, we want everybody just to have a Band-Aid on their way out of the office. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And this is a great...
Professional sports are not... It's not for everybody. That's why these athletes get paid what they get paid.
This is a great segue because the official press conference for David Lemieux and Billy Joe Saunders kicked off yesterday. The fight will be held December 16th at the Place Bell in Quebec. That's a new venue, and it will be on HBO, which is cool. So we knew that we were going to get some crap slung back and forth, specifically coming from Billy Joe Saunders. And Billy Joe Saunders said this: David's going to eat some. And he's gonna beg. I do give him credit because it's kind of comical. As long as they don't let his son, kick David Lemieux in the what, or David Lemieux should wear a medieval knight's costume at
chastity
the
belt.
at the weigh-in. But Billy Joe Saunders says David's going to eat some, and he's going to beg me to finish him off.
Those are fighting words.
The picture of David Lemieux saying, "Billy Joe, please knock me out.
Please, I can't take this beating any longer.
Yeah, I can't take it anymore. Could you just finish me off, please?
Just end it.
I
merciful.
I can't picture that out of my mind. But anyway, he says Lemieux shows a lot of heart when he comes to fight. But the real truth is, I'm too slick. I'm too good for him. I'm in boxing to win and defend my belt all over the world. Lemieux is my tester for the winner of Canelo and Triple G, because this fight's already, the winner of this fight will already be fighting Triple G, Canelo 2 winner. David Lemieux, he says, I think you're in for a surprise. I will be at my best and take the title from you. If the fight demands me chasing you around, I'm going to chase you. If the fight demands me to go to toe-to-toe, I will. On December 16th, I promise that I won't leave the place bell without your belt. I'm extremely excited. Let's get it on. I like it. I like
it.
You know
what? He doesn't say anything. It's not. No, I like it. He just says, hey, guess what? I'm coming to do what I want to do. I'm going to take your belt.
Exactly. And, the funny thing is, Billy Joe Saunders, I think, has a lot to gain in this fight. Even if he loses this fight, if he fights, if this is a great fight, Sal, and Billy Joe Saunders loses, he gets stopped or something, I don't think his value goes down. I think it goes up. I think the belt doesn't really do much for Saunders unless he beats Lemieux. If he beats Lemieux, credit has to be given, don't you think?
Well, I think so. And let's face it. Billy Joe Saunders has, even though he's a title holder, he's not very well known by the world fans of boxing. I mean, they haven't seen him up close and personal. We don't know too much about this guy. So, this is a great opportunity for him to show the world of what he could do and what he's about and where he came from and his life story up close and personal. Let's see it. We'll be curious enough. But as you said, if he just looks respectable and does a good job in a performance, I'm sure they're going to have a rematch clause in there somewhere, no? What do you think?
They may. I would think
it would be smart.
Every champion that I've ever worked with, I've always made sure that they've had a rematch clause. But, the deal was already cut for the winner of this fight to fight the winner of Triple G Canelo 2. So maybe not.
Maybe after.
Maybe not. Yeah, good point.
In the next coming year, it inadvertently, unless you have the title fight against one of the champions or the winner of that fight. I mean, that's why contracts are made. That's why contracts could be broken. But, it should be spelled out one way or the other. And I'm sure Billy Joe Saunders' camp would have been smart enough to say, hey, look, we're going to have a rematch, if not before, but after the fight where Canelo Alvarez and, I think it's somewhere in there. It has to be.
Speaking of title belts. Nico Hernandez is a young fighter. He's in the flyweight division, and he shows a lot of promise. And he's one of these fighters that, you should be keeping an eye on. And right now he's 3-0 with 2 knockouts, all of his fights being 6-rounders, which is impressive in its own right. And yes, he had an extensive amateur career. But it was announced yesterday that he will be fighting on December 2nd for his first world title. Now, granted, it's not a major organization. It's just one of these BS sanctioning bodies, the IBA. Or maybe it's UBU or IBME, and I don't know. But it's for their vacant, the IBA stands for International Boxing Association, the vacant IBA World Flyweight title. Something, no disrespect to Nico Hernandez, because I certainly like the fighter and I don't have any negative thing to say. However, a 3-0 fighter fighting for a world title. I don't care that it's an alphabet title with virtually no value. This is the problem, and we were joking about it in the chat room about participation. I was saying Actually, I might have been saying it on the Facebook feed. Everybody, gets a championship belt, participation trophy. Now everybody gets a belt. To me, this is what's wrong with boxing. I mean, why can't this kid rise to the top and fight for a real title? Why do they even have to promote that he's fighting for his first world title? What's your thoughts, Sal?
Well, again, I thought it was bizarre. Like I said, I'll often use as a benchmark, the '76 Olympic team. Those gold medalists that had the stellar team for the United States of America. I mean, they were great, and they had a good pathway to get a world title shot. And who was the first out of that school or that class was Leon Spinks. I think in his seventh professional fight, he fought Muhammad Ali for the heavyweight championship of the world. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was either seventh or eighth. I think it was the seventh fight. And I was shocked. I said, here's a guy where in tradition you see a fighter with 30, 40, 50, 60 fights getting a title shot for the first time. Here's a guy, 7 professional fights. He's getting a title shot. All right, he had his fast pathway, Olympic gold medalist, everything else. But, for 3 fights to get some kind of participation belt or trophy, that's a little bit much. That's a little early, and I think it does slap in the face of a lot of the other fighters that have gone before.
Well, it dilutes it. You see,
it dilutes it. It dilutes the value. It brings it down.
It's good old supply and demand. You're a businessman. If there's only, if there's 100 pizzeria Italian restaurants in St. Simon's, the simple fact that the value of Sal's Pizza is still going to be high because it's the best, but there's a lot of other choices. If there's only one pizzeria in town, then the value of that pie goes skyrocketing. It's like that with anything. It's called supply and demand. It's one of the first things you learn in business if you choose to go to school. The truth of the matter is the more of something, the less value it is. Look at sports memorabilia. That's why trading cards, baseball, football, whatever, don't have the same value today as they used to in the 80s. In the 80s, I have a rookie Walter Payton card. It was worth $900 at one point. Now it's not because there's more. There's a lot of them out there. They've been saved. It's called supply and demand. It's the same thing with belts. How do you pound your chest and say you're a world champion when we do the math? If you just take the 4 top sanctioning bodies, and I believe the IBO should be in the mix, but I'm not even going to add them. If you just take the 4 top sanctioning bodies, with the way the world title structure is set today, each sanctioning body, let's say for the heavyweight division, conceivably could have 5 champions in each sanctioning body. You have your super champion, you have your regular old champion, you have your interim champion, you have your champion in Muay Thai, and you have your champion in recess. There could be conceivably 5 guys all in one sanctioning body claiming they're the world heavyweight champ. And multiply that by 4, and you got 20 guys walking on this earth that can all be claiming that they're a world heavyweight champ. And that's not even adding in the other alphabet titles like the IBA and all the rest. So, the value of it goes down. And we talked about this yesterday, Sal. The funny thing is that a fighter wins a title. He brags that he's got the title until something else comes up. Then he gets rid of the title and acts like he didn't need the title. A great example of that was Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade, gave up his WBA title. He fights at middleweight, and in return, he's going to get a shot at a middleweight title. It's just, they're trinkets. And unfortunately, the young boxing fan today thinks that if you have a title around your waist, that means you're a good fighter. And I got news for you, Sal. The network execs that make the decisions to put the fights on TV are the same idiots that think if you have a belt, that means you're good. If you have an undefeated record, that means you're good. That's false. It does not mean you're good. It means it might look good on paper, but it doesn't mean you're good. Bring back the guys who fought their way up and became great fighters with losses and got better and better after their losses and struggled. Back in the day, you would have to have 40 professional fights before you were even given a chance at a world title. Now you got a guy that's 3-0 getting a chance at a world title. Come on, man.
No, like you said, and I refer back, and I might have mentioned it once or twice. You remember the old movie with Peter Falk and Alan Alda called The In-Laws?
Yeah.
When Peter Falk was a CIA agent, and he had this mission. He had to, somebody stole the minting dollars, whatever printing blocks, and it was one of the South American dictators, whatever. And so they travel, they go there, and Alan Arkin's just a dentist, a future in-law of these guys. It was funny because this guy, the concept was he wanted to take the mint and the printing blocks and just dilute the world economy with American dollars and bring the value of the dollar down. Well, that's what happened with the world title belts. I mean, you look at it. They created so many titles and so many belts that it brought the value of the belt down. I mean, the world title belt was such a coveted, such a I mean, you wanted that. It was something, wow, that's that gold ring and that merry-go-round or merry-go-round. Whatever it was. When I made my comeback and I told you and John that I wanted a title belt, you might as well slap me in the face when you said, Sal, it doesn't mean the same thing that I did when you fought 25 years ago. I said, what do you mean? And now I see what you meant.
No, I know. And making me remember that movie. Remember,
it was
Alan Arkin.
That was the whole concept.
Well,
the dollar saturation would bring the value of the American dollar down. That's what they wanted. Well, that's what happened with the title belts. Go ahead.
Alan Arkin, remember at one point he didn't believe that Peter Falk was really a CIA agent, and then at the end it's like, but anyway.
He thought he was a Lulu.
Yeah, he thought he was crazy. Alan Arkin was funny. He's funny.
They were both funny. They made a great team. They really did.
Hey, nothing was better than Columbo. I thought that Peter Falk was great in Columbo, and I certainly miss him and that show. But, hey, hold that thought. Well, you can hold that thought. But we're going to take a short break. When I come back, I got some more things to talk about, and something that I experienced myself.
I want to hear what you want to talk about.
Well, there's something I experienced myself in the last boxing event that I promoted a couple of years ago in Florida. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in 2 minutes.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Stop living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
That was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us, and I'm here with my man Sal Rocky Senecola, and we're talking about Colombo, and Sal, I just saw that picture that you put in the camera shot, and it reminds me, my wife had a picture. Like, would you mind very much if I just took a look at that picture one more time? I mean, would you mind it very much if I could feel that picture, because it reminds me so much of
That's
of
a great impression.
Look at I lost a few pounds since that picture, but I see those guys, but who's that gorgeous girl in that picture, Sal? Jeez.
That gorgeous girl is my girlfriend.
Oh, jeez. I look like Groucho.
And she is also the queen of penny slot machines, by the way.
I look like Groucho friggin' Marx in that picture, but anyway. I just wanted to share with everybody something else that's in the news today that I just lost. What did I do with it? Here it is. Hasim Rahman, which
I remember.
Hasim Rahman. I never thought much of him as a fighter, but his son is fighting now, and he's a heavyweight. Right now, he's 2-0 with 2 knockouts, and apparently Hasim Rahman Jr. was supposed to fight in last week, and he was scheduled to fight a guy named Joseph Coates, and Coates got into the ring and decided he didn't want to fight and left the ring.
I read that. I couldn't believe it.
Rahman got all pissed off. He's actually pushing the ref around. I mean, he's lucky. But the North Carolina Boxing Commission, where the fight was being held, they suspended Joseph Coates indefinitely, and Rahman improved to 3-0. He gets a technical decision win on that. And as a matter of fact, Joseph Coates did decide that he was going to come out again and left again, so he didn't want to fight. I got to share an experience because I promoted a show in West Palm Beach. I was a co-promoter in it that we aired on LDL TV 2 years ago. And we had a heavyweight fight on that card. And the same exact thing happened. During the pre-fight, weigh-in, we broadcasted weigh-ins and stuff like that. And we had this guy, I forget his name, who was talking all kinds of smack about fighting this other heavyweight. And this guy didn't have all his faculties together. I mean, we had to hold his hand to get all the medicals, and it was a real pain in the ass. But anyway, we have him on film on LDL TV that, he's talking all kinds of smack. He's going to shock everybody. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. When it came fight night, he refused to come out of the dressing room. He was scared to death. Wouldn't come out of the dressing room. And the referee did the same exact thing. We brought the fighter out. We raised his hand. He won. He got the win on his record. But he was just as pissed off as Rockman Jr. because they wanted to perform. People traveled and spent money to see the kid perform. The worst part about what happened with us in West Palm was he came out afterwards and was like, hold me back, I want this guy now, And it was such a joke. If you're a fighter, and one of the problems is that promoters have a tendency to pick a fight, they're getting the right guy, and maybe the guy never wanted to fight altogether. And, the truth of the matter is if somebody talked him into it and he got cold feet, that's step number one. Make sure you got a guy that exactly, that wants to fight the fight for real, But Rockman Jr. improves to 3-0 with 2 knockouts without even stepping foot in the ring, Sal. So I found that extremely funny.
Funny, comical, but I'll tell you what, that other guy should be banned. I mean, he shouldn't be allowed. I mean, that's the whole thing, your credibility. You're going to do what you say what you do. You show up to fight, you fight. You don't run out of the ring. I mean, it's man, I don't know. Where's the integrity of the game?
Well, we lost that. But that's for sure. But anyway, we got a pretty tough trivia question going on, and if you can get this correctly, you will win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game, the same one that Sal refers to as Alex's boxing machine, his magic boxing machine, but it's actually a game. But and speaking of Alex, we will be doing the Blast from the Past tomorrow, as per request by one of you on Edwin Valerio. So make sure you tune in to tomorrow's show. But the trivia question today is a tough one, and I've been getting a lot of answers, and everybody seems to be. I've had 3 people in the last 24 hours, and then another one a couple of days ago when we did this the first time, all answer the same answer, which I'm going to tell you right now is not correct. The question is, which boxer was a longtime sparring partner for one heavyweight champion, knocked him down in sparring, and then had a victory over another one-time heavyweight champ? The most common answer I've gotten a lot of different answers, but the most common answer I've gotten was Greg Page. That is not correct, boys and girls. I'm going to give you a bunch of hints. And if you're the first one to email me, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. Now, remember, if you want to get your own copy and you don't want to answer this question right, just visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the banner and get yourself a copy. So which longtime sparring partner for one heavyweight champ knocked him down in sparring and had a victory over another one-time heavyweight champ? The hints are as follows. Both of these heavyweight champs, the one that got knocked down in sparring and the other one that lost, were both very well-known heavyweight champions. The one that got knocked down in sparring is very well-known to this day. The one that he beat in a boxing match is almost forgotten today, which is sad. And I will say this, he did fight in other divisions as well, not just the heavyweight division. But the heavyweight champion that was knocked down in sparring only fought in the heavyweight division. And the big hint is both of these guys were world champions. And yesterday I said prior to 1970, which would, eliminate Greg Page to begin with.
And Leon Spinks and Larry Holmes.
How about prior to 1965? That's a big hint. So, I mean, come on. I think you're going to get it now. Prior to 1965, if you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy at TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. you'll win the prize. Hey, special shout out, Frank Tate just came into the Facebook chat room, former fantastic fighter. So the Tate brothers, we love those guys. I'm glad to see that he's watching the show. But speaking of the show, our this day, how about this? On this day in boxing history, October 24th, in 1916, Battling Levinsky wins a 12-round decision over Jack Dillon to win the world light heavyweight title. It took place in Boston. On this day in 1998, Sven Achte wins a 12-round decision over Charles Brewer to win the IBF super middleweight title, and that took place in Dusseldorf, Germany. On this day in 1898, Tommy Ryan wins a 20-round decision over Jack Bonner to win the vacant world middleweight title, and that took place in Brooklyn, New York, on this day in 1898. On this day in 1979, Arub Kali wins a 15-round decision over Masai Kudo to win the WBA junior middleweight title. It took place in Japan. On this day in 1992, Tony the Tiger Lopez, we got to have him back on the show. He was a great interview. Knocks out Joey Gamache in the 11th round to win the WBA lightweight title, and that took place in Portland, Maine. On this day in 92. On this day in 1927, Tony Canzonori wins a 15-round decision over Johnny Dundee to win the vacant world featherweight title at Madison Square Garden in New York City. And finally, on this day, October 24th, in 1939, one of the best ever, Henry Armstrong wins a 10-round decision over Jimmy Garrison to retain his world welterweight title, and that took place in Los Angeles, California, on this day in 1939. Hey, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, that concludes our show for today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.